but we want to have remembrances of our friend to start the show. And I'm so honored today to be joined by Donald Trump Jr., who, sir, thank you for joining us. And I know you're on travel and you're dealing with a lot of emotions like the rest of us. You said yesterday that Charlie Kirk was like a little brother to you. And this is an incredibly difficult moment. I just want to start the show today by asking you, how are you doing? How is your father? And give us your processing of the last 24 hours in America.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate it. No, it's been pretty brutal. I said in my tweet yesterday, Charlie was like a little brother. That's when it all sort of started, and he was, this is 2015, and a couple friends convinced me to take a meeting with this young guy, and I'm like, come on, guys, like none of us know what the hell's going on in this thing. We don't know anything about politics. I don't need to meet with a 20-year-old kid that doesn't know anything about politics, but they were pretty persistent. So I sat down with Charlie, and in 5 minutes, I was like, oh God, this guy's forgotten more about this than perhaps I'll ever even know. And from that point on, he joined my team. He traveled with me for everything from fundraising, speaking to getting coffee and carrying bags. I mean, there was no job that was too de minimis. He did it all, and I think I've probably had spoken to him probably practically every day for the last 10 years. Did every major turning point event, watched that grow from 200 people in a small little room to literally selling out what feels like stadiums. He was truly a remarkable guy, and I had that conversation. I spoke with my father a couple times yesterday about it. I think perhaps by accident, because Charlie's team, I just work with them with so many things. I'd found out right before my father called me back on something else, about this, but I'd found out that he had passed, and I think I was the one that broke the news to him. And it was a rough day. I mean, he was a true, incredible warrior, but just someone who was so kind in the way that he did that. I mean, when you think about Charlie, as much as they hated him, I mean, he literally gave the biggest platform, one of the biggest platforms in conservative America, the people that hated him most. And he did that every day on college campuses all over the place. And he had a conversation, and he had discourse, and he kept his cool. And he was able to do that day in and day out. And he was able to win over so many millions of, especially young Americans, but Americans in general, because in having that conversation and having that dialogue, people realized very quickly that the ideas of the left were not only bad, they were asinine. I know you have a lot of experience this with on CNN. I love seeing your clips daily when it's you versus four lunatics, and with common sense and a smile and some just straight up facts, you're able to shut them out day in and day out. And Charlie did that. His only threat was that he was incredibly effective, and because of that, they killed him.
Well, thank you for your words about what we're doing here. I think as conservatives, you said it, debate, using our common sense, doing it with a smile. This is the behavior that Charlie modeled for us on these college campuses. And I think that's the reaction I'm having is we got to be more like Charlie, more Charlie in the world, and acting like Charlie is a good thing. You mentioned, Don, that you broke the news to your father that Charlie had passed. When you did that, what was the president's immediate reaction?
Listen, I think he was shocked. He'd gotten to know Charlie so well. I sort of probably created that relationship, very early on in 2016, and he saw that movement grow, and he saw the needle move. Frankly, I don't think there was anyone more effective than Charlie Kirk in moving the needle in their specific demographic. I mean, what he was able to do with the youth vote, 20-something% overall change, almost 40% in 8 years, in the young male vote. And again, with no violence, no talking of violence, just common sense and discourse. And I think it was truly shocking to my father, because I think he really was amazed at Charlie's talents, what he was able to accomplish, between 20 and 31, the time that I knew him, most people couldn't accomplish in multiple lifetimes. And I think he was just truly shocked and saddened, and I think he's sort of upset about the place that America is, because they tried to doing the same thing to him twice, because he was effective, because he was willing to stand up and speak the truth and not just go along with the sound bites because, the elite would love him for it. He did what was right for hardworking Americans. He did what was right for the silent majority. And so, I don't know that I don't believe there is another Charlie Kirk out there, but I think if we collectively band together and keep doing that, not take our ball and go crawl in a corner and not be silenced and not go hide, we have a great future. And I think that's probably the best way to honor Charlie's legacy.
It was your dad last summer, and we all watched in horror when that happened. And today it's Charlie. Your voice for conservatives is one of the most important in the country. So I see a lot of anger online. I see a lot of people who are freaked out. I see a lot of, a range of emotions. For conservatives, for the conservative movement, how should we be reacting today? And, where do we go from here? I mean, it feels like we've crossed a line. I don't know what that means, but it feels like everything has changed today.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm plenty angry because we've allowed this to happen to ourselves. We've every time they do this, when we talk about trans violence and the fact that per capita that demographic is the most violent. I mean, it feels like they make Al Qaeda seem like kindergartners with the shoot, but you're not allowed to talk about it, Scott, because the science and they're just a little different. So it's fine. Well, they're not different when they're shooting up children in schools. I found out a little while ago that apparently the cartridges in the rifle that were used to kill Charlie had all sorts of trans paraphernalia inscribed on them. We can't just sit back and say, okay, well, we're going to agree to disagree. Charlie agreed to disagree, and he had those conversations, and they still killed him. If they can do that to Charlie Kirk, they can do that to anyone. If they will do that to Charlie Kirk, they will do it to anyone. They just perhaps don't know your name yet. So we can't allow them to win by being silenced, by being put into a corner. We have to continue to have those conversations. We have to continue to speak about facts. And, as Charlie proved so well, if you do have those conversations, you do talk those facts, even kids in college that have been, frankly, indoctrinized and propagandized for, decades, probably since kindergarten in many places in America these days, you can win them over and they can wake up and they can change their mind and they can come around to, our view of the world. I mean, what was so radical about anything Charlie said? He talked about God, our Constitution, said men can't be women. He talked about family, work ethic. I mean, these are not exactly radical ideas, and yet to the radical left today, they are very radical, and they must be silenced and stopped. And so, we can't allow that to happen, and we can't pretend that there's not a problem with the radical left. We can't pretend that they're peaceful and they're welcoming of everyone. I mean, you see it every day. Oh, it's the party of tolerance. Well, there's nothing tolerant about them. They're only tolerant with you if you agree with 100% of what they say. And you've seen that even with a lot of ardent leftists who are like, I agree. We got to do something. Maybe we shouldn't be jacking up 3-year-olds with testosterone and trying to, change their gender chemically. Maybe we shouldn't chemically castrate our children or physically mutilate them at 3. Maybe we should think, how dare, they go after their own for something as simple as that. So, pretending that they aren't radicalized and violent is not the way. We just have to make sure we keep getting out there and we have to all band together and have these conversations. And I think if we do, perhaps collectively, we can do at least some of what Charlie was able to accomplish, which is just a truly astounding feat.
That voice you're hearing on the radio today is that of Donald Trump Jr., who is joining us here on the Scott Jennings Show with his thoughts and reaction and remembrances of Charlie Kirk. Don, thank you for your time today. I know you're in anguish. A lot of us are in anguish. And as we go to commercial break here, I just want to tell you how much you mean to us, how much your father means to us, how much Charlie meant to us. And we know you were close. And so please stay safe. Please stay safe. This is a
likewise, Scott.
We pray for your safety and we pray for comfort for everyone in the movement. It's common sense for the American people. It's the Scott Jennings Show. Stay home.